So I don't know about you, but certainly this is true for me. It's springtime in London. The clocks have sprung forward. The sun was shining a bit earlier, and I think, you know, this is the kind of year where we come out, or at least I'm talking about myself here, come out of our winter hibernation, and we realise, you know, we think back over those winter nights where we might have had that one extra packet of crisps and glass of wine, and we think about getting fit, and we think about losing a bit of weight, because I think what happens is that we tap into a feeling of the only way I can describe it as sort of self-disgust or self-loathing, like, you know, how could I have eaten that much, how could I have drunk that much, etc., etc. And without realising it, we're looking for ways to punish ourselves, and we find many of those ways online, and we end up trying a few of them. And the other thing I've found is that when you look at the sort of online content available, it seems to be becoming increasingly extreme. So a lot of content about health and fitness is made by young, impossibly ripped guys in the gym telling you how many weights you have to lift in order to look like them. Or alternatively, you've got the sort of vegan diet, you know, the vegans clutching their Buddha bowls. You've got the carnivores throwing their tomahawk steaks all over the place. And there doesn't seem to be anywhere for people who look and sound like me any sort of, you know, really good practical advice that doesn't involve some extreme restrictive diet. So I'm going to give you one example that I really related to recently. The current mayor of New York City, Eric Adams, very publicly became a vegan in the last few years, and he became a vegan because, and this is partly why I can relate to him, is because he discovered that he had quite severe diabetes. I think he lost his sight for a while, and his doctors told him that, you know, I mean, I've made content on this before, either you change your lifestyle dramatically, or, you know, you're going to be stuck with this for life, and it involves surgery, a horrible kind of route that you can go down. So he decided to go vegan, which is completely understandable. And he lost a lot of weight, and he reversed his diabetes. And, you know, he is a great example in some ways, and is being held up as a shining example of health. And they interviewed him a couple of years down the line, and he said he describes himself now as an imperfect vegan. So occasionally he'll eat fish, you know, whatever. And I can also relate to that as well. The reason I can relate is because I did something similar, but with a keto diet. And then I found myself, as I think maybe he has done over time, in the diet trap, where you realise that all you really want to think about are the foods that you've told yourself you can't eat. And then imperceptibly they start creeping into your diet, and imperceptibly the weight starts coming on. And often, it hasn't happened with him, but often you end up gaining a lot more than you had originally, and you sort of yo-yo diet. But here's where I see a massive difference between what you see online and what you see in life, or what you learn about. If you actually look at longevity, you actually listen to interviews with some of the oldest people, or hear about some of the oldest people who've ever lived, a lot of them are smokers. A lot of them eat ice cream, eat junk food. You know, they just happen to have that kind of metabolism. We don't really understand everything about aging and longevity that, you know, that keeps them alive and keeps them going. And, you know, the story of Jim Fixx, the guy that invented jogging, basically dying of a heart attack because, you know, he actually led a very unhealthy lifestyle before he started jogging, took up jogging. The strain on his heart was too much. So it's a very imperfect science. And I suppose I'm making this video because I want to do some work myself on, I have been doing some work myself on ideas about losing weight and how to do it, that really are for people like me, people who look like me, people who are my age, people who are not going to go into the gym and become impossibly ripped, are not going to go on an extreme diet. They're looking for a middle way, and that's really the kind of content that I want to produce. So one of the things that I did realize after a while is that once you've found a system that works for you, you can relax. Right, you know, you can go back into the bread basket. You can have a takeout occasionally. You can have some balance in your life. You can enjoy food. It's not meant to be a battle, And I think that when you get to that point, you realise that keeping healthy, keeping your weight steady is a marathon and it's not a sprint.